Hello dear fans, friends and subscribers. This is your host Ram welcoming you to your daily edition of the Cricket Happening Show today. And in this Cricket Happening Show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a preview of the grand final which is coming up in the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015, which is going to decide the winners of the World Cup 2015 as this very meaty clash takes place at the MCG, as it is called, the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and the clash is between Australia versus New Zealand. Australia, as you know, are the hosts of the tournament, and also the co-hosts New Zealand are the co-hosts of the tournament. And what a meaty clash it is going to be at the MCG, at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, where both the teams are going to contest for the final round in this World Cup 2015. And as I said, may the best team win. But one thing that I would like to, so basically I'm doing a preview of that particular finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015, which has seen lots of runs amassed, lots of exciting matches, lots of records broken. And whether in this finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015, when it is going to be culminating at the MCG amongst a lot of fireworks and everything, when the match is over, what is going to happen? Are we going to see some history being made with New Zealand New Zealand getting into their first finals in their World Cup history? Australia, well, they have done a lot in the past, but I think to win under the captaincy of Michael Clarke for Australia would be a great thing, because Australia would definitely, I'm sure, this World Cup would be dedicated to that very unfortunate incident that happened in Australia, where Phil Hughes, who was felled by a bouncer, passed away. And I'm sure if Australia would win, they would dedicate it to Phil Hughes. To that very wonderful soul, Phil Hughes, as you know. And for New Zealand, they will be making history if they win it, because they have already taken the first step of making history by getting into the first finals, and they would like it to make it their own, no doubt about it. Australians are also not going to give any way. They are going to see to it that they have this World Cup too. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Australian and New Zealand fans milling at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And well, we are going to have some exciting cricket happening, because both the teams are absolutely evenly matched, and I think it is going to be a cracker of a contest which is coming up at the MCG in the finals. Now, the one thing that and for Australia it would be great, because one thing is that as this will be the first World Cup if they actually win it under the captaincy of the new Michael Clarke. As you know, Ricky Ponting had an enjoyable run in the World Cup. As you know, I think he led Australia to more than 2 World Cups. So basically, one and 2 World Cups for Australia. So Michael Clarke, if it all he wins, that would be the first one. And Australia would be hoping, because this match is going to be played at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, which is a huge ground, and you know they have a lot of crowd support there, and they will be hoping they could put it across New Zealand. But New Zealand, you know, what a what a toughie they are. Now, as far as Australia are concerned, for them, well, it's a home ground, so they have nothing to worry. But for New Zealand, let me tell you, their success in this World Cup, not taking any credit away from them, but the success in the World Cup has been everything, all the matches that has been played in New Zealand. So now they would be adjusting, they have to adjust to the climes of Australia. Not much of a difference, but definitely they have to adjust to the climes of Australia. Not only that, they have to adapt themselves, because there's only one game that they're going to play, and that would be the crunch game, which is the finals of the World Cup 2015. And New Zealand, I think, would be tested. Yes, New Zealand definitely hold the wood over Australia when in Eden Park in Auckland. They actually defeated Australia in a very close game, which went all the way down to the wire. And one would remember Kane Williamson striking Patrick Cummins for a 6, which was something, a real rarity as it came out of Kane Williamson's bat and gave them the victory. So, as I said, this is going to be a wonderful affair. And just talking about the teams, let's have a look. So, New Zealand would be the ones who are under pressure, according to me, and Australians would be having all the home support because it is going to be played at the Melbourne cricket ground, which has a lot of huge grounds, a huge ground. Another challenge for New Zealand would be, for me, would be the size of the ground. Now, New Zealand, in New Zealand, as you know, the grounds are much smaller than Australia, and in Australia, we're going to have larger grounds, and MCG especially is a big ground. But I'm sure New Zealand have all the firepower to clear the boundaries. But I think Australia are more used to it, and I'm sure New Zealand would get used to it pretty quickly, no doubt about it. But let's have a look at the teams now. As far as the teams or teams and the prospects, let's look at Australia as they are the hosts of the tournament. Well, the hosts Australia, they have everything going for them. The only thing, according to me, which is lacking in this World Cup for Australia, we have seen that there has been an explosive opening combination of Aaron Finch and David Warner, and that has not been clicking. Now, that is what Australia would want. If at all, when Aaron Finch and David Warner go out to open the innings, they would like to have like a cracker start from Aaron Finch and David Warner, because that is not something which has happened. I mean, we have seen that sometimes it is David Warner who plays, Finch is out, Finch plays, David Warner is out. Now, Australia would like both the batsmen to fire at the same time, as this is the finals, and they would like to really take New Zealand on. And if that happens, that would be explosive stuff coming from Aaron. Aaron Finch the other day against India, we saw in the semi-final that he really struggled, and he was definitely an unconvincing innings from Aaron Finch. Nevertheless effective with 81 runs. So David Warner and Finch would like to really form a strong foundation. That's the first thing. The second thing that Australia have done is that they have promoted Steven Smith in the batting order. He got a century in that match against India in the crucial semi-final, and he's one who is looking absolutely in prime form there. The way he actually plays his strokes is a treat to watch, and he could be one thorn for New Zealand, no doubt about it. So Steven Smith, and then Shane Watson also looking in good nick, and Michael Clarke himself. I'm sure all the players would be wanting to do well because these are the finals, and because every team, both the teams would like to take their cup home. And Michael Clarke, we know he's also a very good batsman. Shane Watson, and then we have Glenn Maxwell. Now Glenn Maxwell, well, you know, he can manufacture strokes out of nothing, and he's another pretty dangerous customer that Australia have in the ranks. And it would be good to see what Maxwell does to the New Zealand bowling attack, and that is one thing. And then we have Brad Haddin, the wicketkeeper, who's also looking good. They still have some firepower left with some very good all-rounders in the mix. James Faulkner, who's a wonderful all-rounder. Mitchell Johnson showed it on that the way he actually packs his power into his strokes when he went after the Indian bowlers in the death overs to rattle 27 of 9 balls. And then the bowling, Mitchell Starc has been a picture of consistency. He has been bowling in the right areas. He's got a lot of wickets, and Mitchell Starc is the one to whom Australia would be looking for the breakthrough. He has been having a dream World Cup, no doubt about it. Not only has been keeping the runs down, he has also been picking up wickets. Mitchell Johnson has definitely got himself into some good gear in that match against India, so that is good news for Australia, because Mitchell Johnson so far in this World Cup has not really hit his straps, but probably now is the time. After seeing his performance in the match against India, one would say he has definitely hit his straps. And then what would Australia do? That would be a question, whether they would like to go with a spinner, or whether they would like to go in with a 4-prong pace combination. That is going to be interesting. I would rather say the 4-prong pace combination is good because of the length of the ground there at the MCG. They have Patrick Cummins, they have Mitchell Starc, James Faulkner, Mitchell Johnson. It would be good to see how the Australian bowlers fare against the New Zealanders, especially when they are bowling to Brendan McCullum, who could really do some real damage to the Australian bowlers. Now, as far as New Zealand are concerned, they have real firepower at the top. Martin Guptill is holding the record for the highest individual score in World Cup history. He has his captain Brendan McCullum, who has always been a very attacking captain, whether it be with his batting, whether it be with his bowling, whether it be with his fielding. Batting, he really likes to tear the leather out of the ball in the first few overs, and then the ball, when he starts with sometimes he clips 3 slips in the gully, sometimes he has 4 slips in the gully, and he almost goes for a test match field and gives his bowlers absolute ammunition to work on. That is something he supports his bowlers at. When he himself in his field is like a panther in the field, diving and grasping at the ball, whether it is in the air or on the field. That is wonderful to see. So he himself sets a great example for everyone to follow. And then they have the Kane Williamson, that classic player who could really get runs in a very serene manner, and especially memories would be ripe of that 6 that he hit of Patrick Cummins. That is one thing. Ross Taylor is also looking in good touch, and then they have some serious all-rounders. Grant Elliott the other day, how he smacked a 6 of Dale Steyn, one of the wonderful bowlers, and took New Zealand to their first finals in the World Cup history. And then they have the firepower of Corey Anderson, who could smash the ball to all parts of the ground. And then the bowling, which has been the key for New Zealand, with that world pace, with that I would say a pace bowling combination with Trent Boult, who did immense damage to the Australians in their victory over Australia in that Eden Park in Auckland, and also Tim Sawley, who could swing the ball really well. But it would be interesting to see whether the MCG, Trent Boult and Tim Sawley, could generate the same swing over there. It would be very interesting to see. And then they have the other bowlers like Daniel Vettori, who's an experienced hand. He has always been very successful against Australia. Not only that, one very important statistic that is to be noted, dear friends and subscribers, is that Ricky Ponting is the only Australian player to have hit a 6 of Daniel Vettori in a World Cup. I wouldn't know how that is true, but it is really surprising to me. That's a statistic that I found out, well, I think they are really braced up. Luke Ronchi is another player who has Australian origins, and he would be hoping that New Zealand actually win the match at the MCG. Probably this is the place he was born, in Australia, and then he shifted allegiance to New Zealand, and now he is one of those permanent. He's a player who has taken a permanent spot in the New Zealand mix of things, being a very good wicketkeeper batsman, a reliable wicketkeeper batsman. And then they have the part-time bowlers. It would be good to see. The other day we saw that Matt Henry, who came in the place of Adam Min, did a fine job of bowling with extreme pace, and also bowling a lot of maidens in that match against South Africa. So he's another one to watch. And for Australia, it would be a sort of a surprise packet, because as in Eden Park in Auckland, Adam Min was the one who played. So that would be interesting to see how Matt Henry shapes up against the Australian batsman. It would be a severe test for him. And other than that, I think we are really bracing up for a wonderful contest coming here at the MCG, at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And as I said, crowds are going to be flocking. And you can't get a better final, according to me, because hosts Australia are the hosts of the tournament, New Zealand are the co-hosts of the tournament, and both of them clashing in the finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015 really makes a nice script. And on Sunday night, one would know who would be the holder, whether New Zealand would be making history by by lifting their first World Cup in their history, or it would be Australia who would be giving Michael Clarke his first World Cup in his captaincy years for Australia. So all in all, it is looking out to be a meaty contest in the offing, and your host Ram would always be there to give you a full cricket report on the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015 finals. So today's preview is over, dear fans and subscribers. Tomorrow, I wouldn't know if at all anything is there. I would be coming back, or otherwise you would be seeing me with a cricket report on the finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015 between host Australia and co-host New Zealand, and there could not be a better script to this ICC Cricket World Cup 2015. And I would say, may the best team on that day win the World Cup. So good luck to both New Zealand and Australia. And this concludes my show today with this preview of the finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015. And see you all with the match report once it is decided who is the winner of the World Cup. Until then, it's a big goodbye from your host Ram today. Thank you.